August 21, 2025, Greater Noida, India. It was afternoon and the neighbors heard a voice shouting in a house. "Save me, save me." But by the time someone reached the house from where this voice was coming, it was too late. Because by then a 28-year-old mother engulfed in fire was lying wrapped in a blanket and had fallen down the stairs of her house, and all this was happening in front of the eyes of her 6-year-old child, who had become an eyewitness to testify for his mother in this case. At this point, Nikki Bhati, who is also being called Nikki Payal in many reports, was a homemaker, a loving wife, a loving mother. So what happened in her 9 years of married life that her life had to end like this? Is it really just a dowry case? Nikki was born in a middle-class family. Her father, Bikari Singh, was an honest man who could do anything for his daughters. Nikki was a loving and caring girl since childhood, and she was the life of her family. On November 10, 2016, when Nikki was just 19 years old, she got married to Vipin Bhati, and her sister's marriage was also fixed with Vipin's brother Rohit Bhati. So both the sisters got married in the same house. And it was an arranged marriage like it happens in our place. Nikki's parents accepted this relationship wholeheartedly, and to please the boys' family, they gave them whatever dowry they asked for. They gave them a Scorpio car, a Royal Enfield bike, gold, and lots of cash. But Nikki's father did not have a lavish job. And all this was far beyond their financial capacity. But still, Bikari Singh gave everything that the boys' family had asked for the happiness of his daughters. Now Nikki was also a simple girl like her father, and she just wanted that after marriage, I should have a nice happy home. And after marriage, she also had a son in 2018 who was the apple of her eye. And after the birth of his child, she became a very dedicated mother. Which is of course a thing that all mothers can do, anything for their children. And after marriage, moving to a new house, it's a bit scary. But the best thing for Nikki was that her sister also came to this house with her. So it was almost like a destiny. She must have felt sure that destiny wants to keep them with each other forever. But this house, which should have been a new beginning for Nikki and her sister, turned out to be a nightmare for them. On the surface, the Bhati family looked like a normal middle-class family. Bhati, Nikki's husband, was an ordinary man. He was a very family-oriented man. There were other people in the Bhati family, like his father Satyavir Bhati, her mother Daya Bhati, and brother Rohit Bhati. All lived together like a joint family. But the reality of this family was something else. Nikki's family says that right after the marriage, they started demanding more dowry. And this extra dowry amount was 36 lakhs. First, they gave very subtle threats to Nikki and her sister. But then these subtle threats turned into mental torture ordeals. And not only Nikki, Nikki's sister Kanchan, who was married in the same house, was also going through the same harassment. And many times these two sisters were also beaten in this house. Both the sisters endured this torture for full 9 years. These people used to call Nikki's parents again and want more money. Send jewelry, send a car, upgrade the car, and every time something or the other was demanded from their family. Now here it was that the men of the Bhati family or their family members had only one job. The money that came to their house through men used to come from only one work or from only one man. But I will talk about it later for now. But Nikki and her sister used to run their own parlor so that they could play their part in bringing money to the house. They could lend a hand in that thing. But Vipin, according to Kanchan, Nikki's sister, he used to forbid them from doing this work. He disliked this work so much that he used to come to their parlor many times and create a scene there so that their customers leave from there. In one instance, when he came to the parlor or beauty parlor, he even had a scuffle with a customer there. And the reason for creating this scene was to defame them and their parlor. That's why he did not get many clients for a long time. Now you must be thinking that maybe he wanted the women of our house not to work, or he would be protective of his wife, that my wife should not do any work, just look after the child. But the most shocking thing here is that Vipin did not have any steady source of income. And on top of that, his demands from Nikki's family members always kept increasing. According to police reports and family statements, Vipin did not have any proper business. In his family, only Vipin's dad used to sit in his shop. He mostly stayed at home and used to put pressure on Nikki to ask for more money from her parents and close her parlor. Beside this, his sister's husband also don't work, he just drink alcohol and find girls for his pleasure. This is their only work. There is no employment. There is a grocery shop where his father-in-law sits. That is the only job and nothing else. Now a lot of things were going on in this house. But Nikki was still maintaining this marriage. And even then there were a lot of fights between Nikki and Vipin over every little thing. But still she did not leave him. And the reason behind that was only on the insistence of the family members. And not just Nikki's family but on the insistence of both the families. Because the parents of both the families used to tell them that if not today then tomorrow everything will be fine. Fights happen in every family. You just have to tough out this time period. That's it. Now there is one more thing here which even I can overlook. A little bit of culture also comes into play here. The community to which Nikki belonged, the community to which Bhati family belonged, if you even say the word divorce, it's really a big deal. So, due to that mindset, Nikki would not want to leave Vipin. Both Nikki and Kanchan's sisters just wanted that their husband should not fight with them. Even if he does not work, he should not fight with us and let us do our work. Stay with us, do not work. Do not even look at the child, but stay quietly. But in 2024, it came to light that Vipin, Nikki's husband, was in an extramarital affair, and Vipin was seen with a woman in New Delhi in 2024, after which he was also beaten up in Delhi. We do not have confirmation of who did this with him and how, but through this many other things came to light in that family. According to Kanchan, Vipin and Vipin's brother have relation with many women. He used to drink alcohol, hang out with women and come home and beat both of them. And there were a lot of fights in their house over this. Nikki Bhati, who is their mother-in-law, who traditionally should have played a protective role, was also an active participant in this torture. The witness says that she often taunted Nikki and said that you have brought such a small amount, and in some reports it has also been said that this amount of 33 to 36 lakhs was also kept by Nikki's mother in the first place. Rohit Bhati, who was her brother-in-law, was also a part of this entire plan. As I said earlier, Rohit Bhati's wife has already said that he was in an extramarital affair. But later in the investigation it was found that all the family members together used to put a lot of pressure on Nikki, and somewhere Nikki was also feeling this pressure on her life. August 21, 2025 was a normal day in Sirsa village of Greater Noida. Nikki was at home with her 6-year-old son. And at that time again it was daytime. Now whatever happened in this house has been testified by her own son, who is 6 years old. He saw his mother being burnt by his father. According to the child, that day his father called his mother. First there was some conversation between them. Then the fight started. And then Vipin caught Nikki by the hair and started hitting her. According to Nikki's own son Nikki Bhati, who was his grandmother. She gave kerosene to her son Vipin. Here in some reports it has also been called thinner. But still Vipin poured this liquid on Nikki. And he set Nikki on fire in front of his little son. And immediately, because it was a flammable liquid, Nikki was immediately engulfed in flames. She ran towards the stairs of her house screaming, but then because of the fire she lost her balance and she just fell down, and all this happened in just minutes. Now their house is of 3 floors. And at this time when all this was happening with Nikki, her sister Kanchan was on the 2nd floor. She was not feeling well that day, so that's why she was in bed rest. But as soon as she heard the screaming sound from the floor below, she went straight to her sister. But the state in which she saw everything happening there, the state in which she saw her sister, that was just pure horrifying. Then she quickly tried to pour water on her sister, and from the room which was on the same floor, she brought a blanket and then put this blanket on her sister so that the fire could be extinguished from her body. When the neighbors heard the screaming sound, they quickly reached Nikki's house. But when they reached there, they saw Nikki in a completely burnt state. They immediately called the ambulance and tried to take Nikki away from there. Nikki was first taken to Fortis Hospital. Then she was transferred to Safdarjung Hospital in Delhi because she was burnt very much and she was admitted with 70% burn injuries. The doctors tried their best to save her, but Nikki Bhati died in the hospital. Immediately after Nikki's death, her family members reached Kasna police station. Initially, the attitude of the police was very casual about this case. But when Nikki's father Bikari Singh and his family members told that this is the result of dowry torture going on for 9 years, then the direction of this case changed. And thanks to the police in a rare event. In this case, the police were very strict and the arrests started very soon. In fact, within 3 days, Nikki's brother-in-law Rohit Bhati and father-in-law Satyavir have been arrested. Now, if you look at this case, it gets buried somewhere or the other. But the best thing in this case was that these people Kanchan and Nikki were being tortured for a long time. And whatever treatment was meted out to these people, whenever it was discussed outside the house, their husbands would just say that the women are just creating too much ruckus. So that's why both Nikki and Kanchan were in the habit of recording everything on the phone so that later they could show evidence outside if someone asked them how they got hurt. So earlier also Kanchan had recorded her sister when she was being beaten. Then came Nikki's recording when she was burning. And then thirdly, even her neighbors had seen Nikki burning. So due to all these things, this case became very solid. But the most important breakthrough in this case was that of a 6-year-old child. When that child told how his grandmother had clearly given kerosene to his father and how all this was initiated, then this case got a solid proof. Police registered an FIR with charges of dowry, death and murder. When the police went to arrest Vipin Bhati in his house and his entire family, he tried to run away from there without saying anything. In fact, he also tried to snatch the gun of a sub-inspector, and then in a police encounter he was shot on his leg. After admitting him to the hospital, he has been kept in judicial custody for 14 days. But even after being caught, he says that I don't feel sorry at all. And my wife died on her own. Bhati. His mother-in-law was arrested a few hours later, and Rohit Bhati was caught by the police at a toll plaza in Haryana. The National Commission for Women has also got involved in this case, and strict action has been demanded here. Nikki's family members and the local community have also demanded bulldozer action on her house. After the narcotics, the police have found another solid proof or another very interesting detail. When the police went through Vipin's social media accounts, they found a lot of suspicious activities on his social media accounts, which suggests that Vipin was involved in many extramarital affairs and relationships. And when Vipin's wife Nikki was being taken to the hospital, he also hysterically posted an Instagram post in which he was grieving for his wife's death. This post went viral. But this post was made only to show himself as innocent. "Why did you do this with me, Nikki?" said in that post. So it is clear that somewhere Vipin came to know that he was going to get caught, and he just posted this to portray a narrative here to save himself later and to use this thing as a proof later. And he wanted to use this post as an escape hatch later. As soon as this case came in the public, massive outreach started appearing on social media. The video of Nikki's burning also went viral, which shook people's hearts. Nikki's neighbors and people from the local community are protesting in front of the police station. They demand that all the accused should be killed. Justice for Nikki is trending on social media right now. People are saying that this is not just a case of dowry but a planned murder. Many women rights organizations are also involved in this case and are saying that there should be an example of what can be the consequences of dowry harassment. But for now, Vipin is in judicial custody and he is getting treated for his leg. Court proceedings have also started in this case or are about to start. And the lawyers say that the evidence here is so solid that they won't survive. But the biggest question here is why parents still question why. Why do parents do this to their children just to force them to marry within their community? Why don't they see that if a family is asking you for doubts, then how will they keep your daughter happy? If a relationship is just a form on top of money. If a relationship is happening, a family is being formed, a marriage is happening just for the sake of gains, then how will your children be happy in that house? But with this, the case is halted here for now, and I am pretty sure that these people will get very severe punishment.